So we're up to Eis Gimel. Ubiyura Inyan, Beprotis Yosef. The Rebbe is going to explain the idea in more detail. The Rebbe was discussing here the Kapitel Tzadik, the idea of Tefillah LeMoshe, Hashem Moin, the idea of Malchus and Noyam, Moyam and Moan and Noyam. And the Rebbe is going to now further explain this pasuk. We have Tefillah LeMoshe, and we have Tefillah LeDavid. Tefillah LeMoshe is considered to be a tefillah of a wealthy. And Tefillah LeDavid is considered the tefillah of a poor person. Look inside. Gimel. To understand this idea in more detail, Yuvan al Bimasha Kosul Admur Marashab Nishmos Eiden B'maimer Dibra Maschel based on what the Rebbe Rashab writes in the Maimer that opens up with the same Maimer, the Isa b'Zoyhar, that it says in the Zoyhar, Shetfilo l'Moshe hitfilas oshir. Moshe's davening is like the davening of a wealthy person, somebody who comes to daven before Hashem. Sometimes he comes to daven like a wealthy person, davening. And this is the difference between Tefillah Moshe and Tefillah David, because in Tehillim we have Tefillah Moshe, but we also have Tefillah David. So the chiluk between Tefillah David and Tefillah Moshe is the Tefillah David, Tefillah Ani. The Tefillah of David is the prayer of a poor person. Or Tefillah Moshe, Tefillah Asher. The davening of Moshe is the tefillah of an usher. So the Maimer asked the question: if he is an usher, tefillah of Moshe is the tefillah of an usher. If he is an usher, so why is he davening? Davening means that you're davening to the Eibishter because you're lacking something, you want something. That is why you're davening. But if he's an usher, he's wealthy. The idea of davening is that you pray to Hashem that He should fulfill what you're missing, what you're lacking. But a wealthy person isn't missing anything. So why is he davening? What is the prayer of an ashir? If he doesn't need anything, he isn't missing anything. So what is he davening for? Davening means you're asking the Eibishter to fulfill something that you need. But if you don't need anything, why are you davening? And the Rebbe says furthermore, when we're talking about an ashir, we're not talking about an ashir only that has what he needs. An usher really means he has a lot more than what he needs. So why would he be davening? Need to more explanation is necessary based on what the sages of blessed memory say in the verse when they say that you have to give the poor person, it says, sufficient for his lacking, whatever he's lacking. So what does it mean, sufficiently what he's lacking? Meaning extreme, that even to the poor person you have to give how much? Not just what he is lacking, but meaning sufficient what he needs means you don't have to make him wealthy. Okay. However, what does Asher Yechsar Lo mean? What does it mean? What is lacking? How much is the lacking over here that we're talking about that you have to provide for him? What level is that lacking? So he says, Afilu sus lirkev olav eved loros lefonov. Even a horse to ride on and a servant to run in front of him, if that is what he had, then he's lacking and he doesn't have that. You have to provide that. You don't have to make him wealthy, but you have to provide all his needs. So look how much we consider the ani's needs. Consider the ani's needs. Even he may have everything, but he doesn't have the carriage to ride on. He doesn't have a horse to run in front of him. He doesn't have a habit to run in front of him. That's considered already lacking. But you don't have to make him wealthy. So what does wealthy mean then? It means a lot more than what he needs. That is what an usher has. You don't have to make him into an usher, but you have to give him everything he needs, which would be a lot, even a horse and even a servant. Move on. So from this we understand that the idea of wealth it is not only that he is not lacking anything. Even a horse to ride on and a servant to run for him. He's not even, of course, Usher is not lacking that because that we have to provide even for an ordinary person. That's the machsere. Elo, we're saying mushba beribui hashefa, that he has been flowed, he's been given, he's been granted a lot of flow, a lot of blessings, a lot more than what you need. So based on this, we have to understand even more. So why is an usher praying for? If an usher has so much, a lot more than even a slave to run in front of him and a carriage to ride on, and that's not an usher yet, and he has a lot more mushba b'ribu shefa, so why is he davening? So many places explains this idea, and also in the above Maimer. The tfilas oshir hi loy bishvil atzme. So they explain that the wealthy person is not davening for himself. He has everything. So his tefillah is not for himself because he has everything. And that's we find this in the Medrash. The Medrash says ala posik tefillah l'Moshe. On this posik tefillah l'Moshe. So the Medrash says Moshe lemo hadover doim. What could we compare this prayer that Moshe Rabbeinu is davening? L'shloi shoshabo litil chulu meis hamelech chulu. 3 people came to ask from the king. Each one was asking, the first 2 were asking something for themselves. What they want is their needs. Then the 3rd one comes. Amar loy hamelech, says the king to him, Ma ato mevakish. What is it that you're asking? Amar loy, so he said to him, Eini mevakish alatzmi davar. I'm not asking for myself anything. I'm not asking for myself. What he's asking the king is El Medina pleni sichareva. There is a country which is destroyed. V'hi shaloch, and it's your country. Gezoir shetibanachulu, decree that it should be built. He's telling the king to build. He's not asking for himself. He's saying the king, you have a country and you go and build it. Make a decree that it should be built. Kach Moshe leibikish la'atzmei. Likewise, Moshe, he didn't ask for himself. Elo b'shvil Yisrael, for the Yidden. So that's how the Maimorim explain. Why is Moshe Rabbeinu davening if he is an usher? Why is he davening? He doesn't need anything. Why is he asking? He's asking not for himself. He's asking for the Yidden. The Rebbe says, this explanation needs an additional explanation. The kivon shetefila he avodah shebelev. Since prayer is the service of the heart, davening is not just saying the words, but it's in your heart. And therefore, hare move on. So when you're praying, shagam kishe mispalel avur acherim. So also when you daven for others, hatfilo shelohi ba'oifen shachisorin shalahem negei lelibay. So his prayer when you're davening for others is in such a way that what the other people are missing, that touches his heart. He is missing it. Shala odom hamispalel, of the one that is davening. So if you're davening for somebody else, it's something that touches your heart. Shala odom hamispalel. Uki'ilu shehu atzmaihu choser. It's as if you are lacking, because if you're davening for somebody else and the other one's situation touches you, then it's like davening for yourself. So it turns out, the more that he cares about the other people, then he davens more, stronger. So also the davening, when you daven for others, you're still lacking because you care about the other. So when the other is missing it, it's like you're missing it. So that's why you're davening. So why do we call this the prayer of a wealthy? If you're praying, means that you need it. Okay, you need it for others, but it's if you need it for others, you need it for yourself. You're lacking. So why is it called the tefillas osher? So the explanation that the Maimorim give that it's not davening for yourself or others needs another explanation, because even while you daven for others, that's still something that you're lacking. So why do we call this a tefillas osher? The osher isn't lacking anything. So what's the point of the explanation? Is the inyan ha'ashirusu lo yirak sheyesh lo yidei tzrocha b'harchava. Idea of wealth is not just that he has everything that he needs in a wide way, but which means and even more. So practically speaking, you have everything you need and you have a lot more than you need. No, there's more than that. Elo shehu oshir be'etzem. But you are wealthy in essence. You have everything in essence, which means sometimes you have it, but it's not yours. It's given. Oshir means oshir be'etzem. Everything's going to explain. But inyan hu, the idea is the oshir va'oni hu mashpia u'makabel. A wealthy and a poor is the idea, one who gives and the recipient. A poor person means that you don't have, you have to receive. A wealthy person, he's the one that gives. The Mazemu one. So from this we understand, if we say that wealth means not just that you have it, but that you're not a receiver, you're a giver. So you may have everything and you still be poor. The Mizem move on from this, you understand. Even when he has a lots of flow, lots of blessings, but the flow that he has, but it's not his own, but he got it from others. Who oni, he is still a poor. He's called a poor person. Why? Poor meaning makabel. He's a recipient. He's not a mashpia, but he's a recipient. What is the idea of wealth? Who shemitzad atzmoi yesh loy hakol. On his own, he has. He doesn't have anybody give him what he has, but real wealth means that on his own, he has everything. The Rebbe gives now in a bracket a lengthy connection to the idea what is really wealth and what is really, when one is poor, that is really talking about in the level of das. A wealthy person has das. Poor person doesn't have that. What does it mean? Yesh lekasher zeh. So we can connect this in Maimer Azal with the saying of our sages of blessed memory. They say, Ein oni ela b'das, ve'ein oshin ela b'das. That a poor means really poor is talking to somebody who is poor in knowledge, in the level of das. Ve'ein oshin. And a wealthy person really is ela b'das. Why is the measured wealth and poverty measured by das? Ki das hu hakorev v'hargosha. Because level of das is recognition and sensitivity and feeling. You have chokhmah ubina, that's the level of the brain, calculated intellect. Das is the feeling and the recognition. So one of the advantages in the recognizing and feeling over understanding and grasping, which is the maila of das over chokhmah ubina, what's the maila of the level of das over chokhmah ubina? The kasha odom maskilu mevine is a davar, when the person understands or he has an idea and he understands something, it's not that he himself knows it. The person is a recipient of this, that he finds out what he knows from this seichel that gives him that knowledge now. So your brain understands and came up with an idea from the outside that gave you that explanation, but it's not you alone, it's not you yourself, it's something that's been given to you from your seichel. The inyan ha'korev hargoshu. But what is das? The idea of recognizing and feeling who? Shehu be'atzmoi makir u'margish es hadover. That he himself recognizes and feels that item. That's the level of das. B'zehu she'inyan ha'aniyus v'ha'ashirus u'be'ikir b'das. And that explains the idea that when we say that what is poverty, what is wealth, is mainly in the level of das, having das or not having das. The kivon sheyihayidiya shemitzad ha'askola v'abona hikimo yidiya niknis, since that which you know because of that you figured it out, you understood it, that's like yidiya niknis, you have acquired. You bought that knowledge. It's not in essence you. But you yourself don't know. You brought in something from the outside. It's not you understand. You have a knowledge that was presented, given to you. You grasp it. And therefore, even after you have the understanding, you have the idea, you understand it, he still remains on Ori. It's not yours, really. It's not your essence. But it's dafke through das, in which you get the recognition. Then You go out from being poor and you become osher because now you acquired it. Now it becomes yours. It becomes with your essence. Hine yodua the inyan ha'tokef ubedas. Known that the idea of force, a forceful decision, is in das. Das gives you a forceful in the level of das. The kshaodam machlit lasis eze davar mipnei shemakiru margish shekein tzorich lasis. When a person does something because he recognizes and he feels that this is what you got to do, that decision is with much more force, much more than a decision of understanding and grasping. If you understand and grasp the idea, the force of the decision, because you understood it, is not so strong as when the decision is based on your recognition and seeing it. And what's the reason? Why is the decision that is based on das with more force? The hasoga he bederech shakla v'tarya. Because when you grasp something, it's a way of give and take. It's not direct, which means there is room, it gives room for another understanding, another grasping. Could be different. So the way you come to the conclusion is you got to decide between different ideas. That's what the hasoga through a shakla v'tarya. That's why the decision that is based on what you grasp is not so much force, because there's a little bit of room over there. It's shaky a little bit. But but when you say you recognize and you feel the idea, the level of das, that's in the essence of this svara. In the essence of the idea, there is no room for any opposite, any other ideas. And that's why a decision that comes based on your recognition, that doesn't change. That's with full force, because in the essence of the svara, which is the level of das, over there is no other svaras, and therefore it's with full force. So, so based on this, we can say, why are we saying that Chochmah and Bina by themselves, if there is no das, they are on a level of that they're considered poverty, considered poor, aniyas? So normally we think of it because the person doesn't have yet that recognition. Like we said, it's an acquired. But here the Rebbe says more. It's not only as far as the personal. It's not only as it relates, touches the person. That the person is poor because he only has it Chochmah Bina, he doesn't have the das. Chochmah Bina, like we said before, because that which he knows because of Chochmah Bina, that's addition to the person. But the person himself lacks the idea. He's still an ani, even though he knows the idea. But it's not the person himself, it's an acquired. But here we're going to add to it. We're going to say it's not just that the person is poor, and the gam benegel la skola vasoga atzma, but even as it is connected and touches the idea and the grasping themselves that Chochmo Bina, by definition, Kibon de Bahasoga, the Chochmo Bina, since in the understanding of Chochmo Bina, yes, Nisinas Mokim Lasoga Ofkis, there is room for another understanding, and so it's not a perfect understanding. It's a poor understanding because it's not absolute. It's not only. There is allowances for the Shaklavitaria for the other idea. And since he's an essence and Oshir, so that the Rebbe added this additional point now about Yediyah, where we have, which is considered to be Oshir and Oni Bedas. But back to the regular idea of being a poor or rich means not just having it, but having it on your own. So the question is, we keep on. So we keep on Shu Oshir Ba'atzim. So this is the way the Rebbe is answering. So since he is in essence, we just said that Oshir, he has it on his own. How do you move on? Shein Shoyach Boy Chisorim. So then there is nothing lacking in him at all, even when he's praying for other people that are lacking. Nothing is lacking because he's in essence Osher. And therefore, even though the lackings for those that he's davening for them is something which touches him very much and it really affects him. And the davening that he davens for them is as if he is lacking himself. But still, there's no chisor in him because he is an usher in essence. So therefore, it doesn't matter that he is davening for others and the others' issues are something that bother him as if he was lacking it. That doesn't change his status from an usher, because an usher is a status of what he is in essence. He's in essence an usher. And therefore, the fact that he's davening and for lacking of others doesn't change his status from an usher. So that's how the Rebbe explains the other Maimorim that say that, bring down from the Medrash, that Moshe davened for others. But why is that still considered a tfilas oshir? Because what others are missing, he's missing. And the Rebbe says, no. An oshir means what he is be'etzem. And if he's an oshir be'etzem, even when he's davening for other people who are lacking, it still does not change the status of him being an oshir, and the tefillah remains a tefillah losh. Okay, let's leave it over here. And we'll
Okay.
next time, Be'ezer Hashem.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Good day.